Welcome, everyone, to a brand new episode of the Action Movie Guys podcast. This is episode 389. We're up to the fourth film in the Once Upon a Time China franchise from 1993. I'm your host, Alex Figueroa. My co-host is
Nate from Netflix Reviews.
All right, Nate. So in this film, for everyone out there, Jet Li is not in this movie. Okay, 13 Aunt is not in this movie either. So this is going to be interesting. And I know we talked about in the few episodes back about, can this be the funny comedy one of the, like a Jackie Chan? And I think our theories came to fruition watching this movie. But
worse.
Yeah. Really
like
bad.
First Strike, as far as a fourth movie, is better. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but I will say better. Yeah. And the only returning characters here, you're right, we don't have Jet Li, we don't have my girl 13th Aunt. We have Foon, he's back. We got the dad now, Jet Li's dad, who all of a sudden is a character, I guess, who didn't barely do anything in the last movie, but he's back. And Clubfoot. That's it. Those are the only three that come back. Because I don't remember that other guy. There's like a third guy. Was he in part 3? The other? No, I don't remember that guy. He's new.
Yeah,
he's one of the disciples or something.
Yeah, they added some new characters, some returned, the main ones did not return. But then again, Jet Li started to become a superstar, and I could see. I know he filmed a few martial arts movies around this, so it could be that they paid him a little bit more to do.
Yeah.
And he
maybe the director left, and he was like, "I'm not doing it. If he's not directing it, I'm not doing it."
Could be. So with that said, look, financially, this movie made 11 million Hong Kong bucks, so that's lower than the other 3 movies that we did. Can it be because Jet Li's not here?
I read about that. So I read about it. It said they made 11 million, which was much lower, but it was enough to warrant the 5th movie. So they were happy enough with what it made to make another one. However, all the reception was a little muted because of the departure of the director and Jet Li. Like literally, they're like, well, yeah, it made less because of that, but it still made enough to make, well, there's 2 more. So I guess it did well enough. And there's no Rotten Tomato score, so don't ask me. I looked everywhere. This movie has no Rotten Tomato score, so I cannot tell you if it's lower than the previous movie or higher. I'm sure it's lower, but I don't know what they are. So this is I think this might be the first movie we've ever done where I couldn't even find any. They're just both, they're not even zeros. They're just blank. There's nothing. There is no Rotten Tomato score for this.
Yeah, there's not much. I even looked up some stuff to see there's really not much. I just think once Jet Li and the director left, they were like, who
put
cares?
This movie in a hole. Criterion brought it back out for this box set, but they just buried it in a hole somewhere, and we're like, don't ask about it.
Yeah. So look, with that said, let's get right into it. All right, lead character is the same character as Wong Fei-Hung.
Wong Fei-Hung.
Yeah, played by a new guy.
A new guy. You know what? I gave him a fair shot. I don't think he's that bad. Actually, like the actor, he doesn't really look like Jet Li, but, it's fine. He had one fight when he's breaking out of jail where he was doing some nasty kicks. I was like, okay, I'm going to give this guy a chance. I'm going to give this guy a chance. So none of my gripes are with the performance because I don't think it's that bad. However, the character in the first 2 movies, if you guys remember, I gave him a 5 and a 5. Then the third movie, he was dialed back a little bit. I gave him a 4. And now we're going back even one more step. I gave him a 3 in this movie. And it's not the actor's fault. It's the script. He's still that, I don't want to say a superhero. In this movie, he's pretty much a superhero. Everybody can fly in this movie. We're going to get to him when we get to the action scenes. But, he's still that. And but he has some good one-liners. Like when he's fighting with the Red Lantern people or whatever. Yeah, he has some good one-liners. He still has the similar personality. But you know what's missing? 13th Aunt. No 13th Aunt really affects the character. 14th Aunt, hot by the way. She's pretty hot. But 14th Aunt got a crush on him, which is weird because it's her sister's husband. So, I guess that could happen in real life, but it's a little weird. And she's looking at him she loves him too. But it's missing the dynamic of actual 13th Aunt. It affects him in that he's just there with his boys all the time. He scolds Foon at the beginning. That was kind of funny. It's why didn't you leave? What? And then he hides when he was supposed to go get banished or whatever. He has most of the same characteristics, but there's nothing new here for him. So at this point, when you're 4 movies in, you either got to do something new or he got to just be absolutely stand out. He's neither. I gave him a 3.
Yeah, I gave him a 3 also. The character was flat. And this is what I mean. Each film, Jet Li brought something different dynamic to the character. Whether there's a little spark of humor where you laugh. I still think it's funny, the train scene when he's just throwing up and no one can see him and he yells at Foon. I think it's funny. They add some of that stuff and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I think the loss of Jet Li, because Jet Li was the character, meaning he brought it to life. And now they brought in this new guy. Nothing wrong with the new guy. I thought he was really good in the role replacing him. And it felt like if he was the actual guy, I was like, okay, he's more serious. He's not as funny, but Jet Li gave it the personality. It was just right with Jet Li. Now, fighting wise, I mean, he's not Jet Li in terms of precise speed and flexibility, but he could do it. He could hold down. He was really good. Yeah. But it was what you said with him in these fight scenes. I thought it was like an X-Men movie. It was just straight like, it was weird. I was just like, this is a little weird with this. I'm not going to go into breaking down the action sequences, but with him, just felt off. Now, Fung, I liked him, but I like the element of Foon when he's serious funny, right? This is straight up over the top slapstick comedy Foon. Yeah. I didn't like it. I didn't like him in this one. I didn't like him at all because 13 Aunt was in there. Yeah. And then he's trying to kick it to every female that he comes across. And I was just like, okay, whatever. 14 Aunt, she's hot. Yeah. And I just saw her IMDb for the actress. She's gorgeous. Yeah. But yeah, she was good. But yeah, that was weird. I was like, why is it like every female that came across this main character was kicking it to him? Yeah. Was weird. Very weird in this movie. But yeah, I gave it a 3. Nothing new, nothing different. Just same old character, just different face. So I gave him a 3. Okay, now main villain here. There's multiple. You got the Red Lanterns. You got the British, Russian / German, another foreigner spy thing. It's weird.
We got the Red Lanterns, which are like, they're kind of like that White Lotus group from the second movie, except they're all women. Like they're all female, which was a good idea. You know what? When they first appeared on screen, I was like, okay. Because remember the third movie, I was just like, these villains suck. So I was like, all right, we're going to get something cool. We'll break it down. So there's the Red Lanterns, and then there's this German. So they're called the 8 Nations. It's basically like a group of all these different countries. I don't know what they all are. I know it's Germany. I know I saw the French flag in there. I know I saw the British flag in there. I'm assuming maybe like Russia because they were in the last movie.
Could be all the foreign.
Yeah, it's 8 foreign countries. Yeah. But the main guy is German, the main one, like at the end that's in the little carriage and he's trying to escape and all that kind of stuff. And then you have his 2 henchmen, the guy who punches horses, which I'll get to in a minute, and then that guy with the long hair. So there's a lot of villains. Red Lanterns, cool idea. Liked it when they first appeared on screen. And they're like, death to the foreigners, kill foreigners. And they're throwing all the lanterns in that German hospital thing. And it's like blowing up and cool. But ultimately, halfway through the movie, they get defeated by Wong Fei-Hung. Like he goes and they're like, they can all fly. But he's like, look, it's wires. And all of a sudden you could see the wires. Like how were they invisible before? But now you could see them really good. And they basically do parlor tricks similar to the White Lotus. They end up being a copy, except with all girls. And I think it could have been something cool, but ultimately halfway through it seems like they abandoned it. And then you have the one girl who's like kind of defects from them and helps them. She ends up dying. And then their leader dies in a hilarious way. So they end up being not great. Then you have the German guys, weak. It's just evil white guy who's German but speaks Chinese throughout the whole movie. So I don't know what's going on there. They have another tournament, which we'll get to in the plot. They have another one of these tournaments with the costumes, and they kill this governor guy. I think he's a governor, I read. They end up killing him and whatever. Then you have his henchmen, who are amazing in that they're horrible but amazing. You have the long-haired guy who, he looks like a character from, a fighting video game. Like Samurai Showdown or something. He has a sword, but he wears a German military outfit, but then he's Chinese with long hair. He looks super weird. And my boy Iron Fist. I love this guy. I don't know why he wasn't in more of these movies. This dude just literally runs up and punches horses in the face. He punches 3 horses in this movie. And when he punches them, they fall down or they die, one or the other. He also punches that lady's head off, which is amazing. The guy cuts her. He goes, dude, punches it like a soccer ball, goes flying. I like that guy, but I gave the villains a 2. They're not good. I like that guy ironically. He's not a great villain, but I just like that he punches hard. That's his whole shtick.
Yeah, I gave it a 2 too. Okay, the villains. I was just like, what the hell? Again, this movie, it's weird. The later ons that we watch more and more of these damn things, I really don't know what I'm watching. I mean, after the first 3 movies, I was all locked in. I was like, man, I could get what's going on. Now we're up to this. I mean, the third one was a little confusing as hell. Yes. But then it just starts to get more complicated each damn movie. This movie's so complicated. I was so lost with the Red Lantern people. I was like, what is going on? He's helping them out, the foreigners, and then they arrest him. They beat him down, and he fights out. I was like, oh my God. I was like, cool sequence, but geez, you're right. The wire work is so shown, and that's poor editing in their part. But again, that all comes down to the director. So
you could see the wires in so many shots. You could see them above their heads. I'm like, at least in the first three, when they use it, you can't see them. Here, you can see them every time.
Yeah, it's the director. It comes down to the director. And especially the horses. When you see the horses getting dragged when the guy punches it, I was like, oh, that's bad. You can see
it
the
on
wire
the feet
work
of the horse. Like,
yeah. So with that, for me, when it comes to that stuff, I just did not like the Red Lantern people. The Iron Fist I agree, he's cool. He punches horses. I was laughing all over the place when he punches everything. I thought it was cool. Now, the guy with the sword, he was cool when he fought Clubfoot.
Yeah.
They had a cool fight. Other than that, man, they're not memorable. I thought the whole like trying another assassination attempt type crap happens. And I'm just like, and the ending, I didn't even like either. The ending was just so bad. Ending is so bad. I don't know. It's weird. I just feel like all these movies villains are horrible. If it wasn't for the first two movies, I think these have the worst.
They're getting worse.
Villains. Yeah, keep going down. So 2 for me, 2 for you. Okay, action scenes.
All right. Well, this series has one thing has buoyed it no matter what. It's been the action. I mean, it's been fantastic to this point. I have a big problem with this movie because we've already touched on it. One, you could see the wires every single time. I would say maybe not every time. 8 out of 10 times that there's wires, you could see the wires, which is bad. Number 2, way too much wire work. It's one thing if it's a fantasy movie, like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, for example. That's like fantasy. Like they're supposed to be able to do all these things. In this movie, every single character can fly. Like they just run in the air. They run. They're like running. It looks like they're running on air, or they do a kick and they're able to like bounce off of stuff for 30 feet. And it took me out of it immediately. I was just like, nope. All of this cool stuff that was in the first 2, but also in the third, is not here. We barely get any 1-versus-1 fights. Everything is like multiple people flying around, and the camera I hate the way it's edited. Like the shots are very weird. And then number 2, my main problem is, wait, what is up with? They started this in the last movie, and now this whole movie is all about these people in these lion head things. I don't like it. Maybe Chinese people, it's part of their culture, and maybe they're really into it. As a non-Chinese person, I do not understand this thing of like, let's get in a lion costume and go and run around and dance and have all these other people like being a caterpillar and being an oyster and being a dragon. And there's like 3 separate action scenes that are people in these things flying around, jumping around like crazy. I didn't like it. I gave it a 2. This is the worst action out of the whole franchise.
All right, so I was 1 ahead. I gave it a 3. I enjoyed the action. Some action is really good, but man, let me tell you, the minute I saw a guy kick someone's foot and they went up 5 stories or whatever the hell it is. First of all, I don't know how physics work in this damn movie now, because when they jump, I mean, they're jumping like they're like on top of a 3-story building jumping and then come back down.
Did the backflip, the Red Lantern, and she landed all the way on top of like 3 people.
Yeah, it's very bad. I really don't. I don't know. I can't get behind it, so that's why I deduct a lot of points. The fighting sequences are very redundant. Meaning, there's a scene that Master whatever his name is Hung.
Yeah,
he's fighting and he has to take off something, and now he's using the shirt to fight all these people, and he's using this and that. And I'm like, man, but at least with Jet Li was creative. Like he had no weapons, so he uses, but it wasn't like he was fighting them. He was just slapping them on, like how you wet a towel and he go.
Yeah.
You smack him with it. That's what it looked like he was doing. He's so fast he could turn them into a weapon. So I was like, that's cool. But here, I don't know, man. I wasn't feeling most of the fights. Like this fight in the prison was okay, but I was like, that looks so fake with the wire. Yeah. When he did like this multiple kicks in the air, and then he went and he's still kicking in the air. I said, no, this is some video game shit. I was like, this is not working for me. And throughout the whole thing is like some flying kick that's like 30,000 kicks per second in the air. And I'm like, yo, I am not, and I'm a sucker for martial arts, and I love hand-to-hand. I love all this stuff like the Wing Chun and all that stuff. But then there's stuff that you're just like, come on, man. This is like some Rite Aid movie $5 bin shit. And this is where this movie action is. You just look at it, the quality quality of the fights are so bad. And you could see it. My man Wing Ping Hing did not do it. What was his name?
His name is Yuen Wo Ping.
That guy.
Yeah,
every movie that he does so far, we go, wow, the action is like amazing. He has not done the movie.
No, he has only done one of these. He only did part 2.
Oh my God. No, it's so bad. They need to bring him in every action movie.
Yes.
Wing Ping Ding,
Yes.
whatever.
Yuen Wo
Yeah,
Ping.
I was Wu Ping. I was not feeling the action. I gave it a 3 because I was like, you know what? There was some stuff in it. There was a lot of action, but I wasn't too. And that ending scene with the dragons fighting, so bad. He was going over the crab. They killed him. And he was like, you gotta revenge me. And I was like, what is going on here? I was like, the damn emperor of China just got killed. And no one says nothing. The emperor of China just got killed in front of everyone.
Yeah.
But Master Hung was the only one that could defeat him. I was like, this is the emperor. He has armies.
The German guys, they kill that guy with the guns. They shoot him. And then this guy writes a letter with his finger blood and is like, I was late. Let's do a rematch. And they're just like, sure, let's do it. What is this?
Yeah, I gave it a 3. Like I said, it actually was 3, but man, there's some questionable, dumbass shit in this movie. Okay, storyline.
2. Again, a 2. I could have given it a 1. However, there was a couple of ideas I liked. I didn't want to, similar to how you gave some credit to the action, I'll give, this is me giving some credit to the story. There's some ideas. I know the Red Lantern, like I mentioned, I like the idea. I don't love the execution. I like the idea of them, all woman, sort of like fighting group who's hates foreigners and wants to kill them. Cool. I also like the idea of these. See, when you read like the blurb of like what the movie's about, that sounds cool. But then when you watch it, it's not cool. And it's like, it talks about how like all the different countries want to essentially like take over China and all. Like there's something there that you could just make a very straightforward, cool movie about invading countries and China defending itself. You know what I mean? Like you can. But instead they want to do it with tournaments and, lion dance tournaments and grabbing a medal. And I'm like, what? Like at the end of the movie when they're talking about how Germany invaded or the 8 nations or whatever invaded capital or something. Yeah. And I'm like, well, why didn't they show that? I would have liked to have seen that. That's at the very end. And then they're like, let's go back south. We're going to go back. This one ends on like kind of like a cliffhanger almost. Like,
that's right. It does.
Yeah. So I bet you it's going to tie right into the next movie. It has to. The next one has to just be the continuation of whatever that was. So yeah, it ends on like kind of a cliffhanger, which I don't mind if I'm looking forward to the sequel. I got to say, these movies are starting to beat me to death. I loved the first 2 and I was hyped. I was like, oh baby, maybe this is like an amazing franchise. And then the third was okay. And now the 4th one I didn't like. And now I'm like, I don't even want to watch part 5. We're going to do it, but I'm not looking forward to it anymore. I gave it a 2.
I gave it a 2 also. Storyline is crap. First of all, the one thing I will give it credit, it was a smaller running time than the others.
Yes, that was great.
I gave it. That's where one of the points goes to.
Yeah.
It was running time.
Yeah, 1 hour 40. It's the shortest one so far. Yep.
Yes, but the wackest one.
Yes.
I was like, Jesus, this one is garbage. It is so, in Nate's famous word throughout all the podcasts, convoluted in everything. Very. You got 20,000 plots. You got my man getting hit on from 14th aunt, from other women. I was like, what is going on? Foon is a dumbass throughout this whole thing. Nothing at all. Nothing inspiring. His father fought, and I thought it was pretty cool. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. But then he got shot, and I was like, oh, but it didn't mean nothing because I kind of like Jet Li and the father's dynamic. So I would have been like, I think I would have did the whole no thing if it was Jet Li, because then he would have brought it to life. But that guy was just like, they just playing. Yeah, I don't know who you are. You're not my dad. So
you're not my dad.
Yeah, it's like the Alfreds. You know when like George Clooney, when Alfred was dying in Batman and Robin, and George Clooney's Bruce Wayne. You're just like, who cares? He's not Michael Keaton.
You just met this guy. Get out of here. Why are you sad?
Yeah, him, Val Kilmer was just like, dude, I could care less if you die right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I feel. But anyway, yeah, the fighting sequences were kind of lame. I gave it a good because I thought they were good, but it was just a lame fighting sequence of a movie. So yeah, the music was good. I will say this: the music so far for Once Upon a Time in China, great score. And my man Jackie Chan still in the beginning. I
like that beginning part. That was cool when they're all
love the beginning. Yeah, in the beach. Yeah. They're in the beach or they're doing whatever. You know what's funny? I'll say it here. The movie starts, right? And they're all doing the stuff in the beach. Right? I'm all getting into it again. I was like, yeah, Jackie Chan stuff. All of a sudden, they show the new phone coming in, the master. And I'm like, who's this guy?
And he's like punching himself.
Yeah, he's doing all the moves and he's doing the kicking. And I'm like, damn, Jet Li's gonna have to fight this guy. And I forgot that's Jet Li. Yeah, it's like, oh, but you know what? I will say this: starting off the movie showing his skills, I was like, he's actually pretty good. I was like, he was really good. It sucks, like you said it the best. Good actor and martial artist, but for a shit script. So hopefully, I'm with you, man. I really don't want to see part 5 because Jet Li's not back again.
This guy's back.
Yeah, he's back, but I will give him the credit because he's a good fighter and
I feel
a good
bad
actor.
for him because that's a tough road to fill. He did his best, and I didn't hate the performance, but it's like, dang, that's like Blade. Like, let's say Blade. Wesley Snipes was in 3 Blade movies, and let's pretend part 3 was good, and he was in 3 Blade movies, right?
Yeah.
And then let's say in the 4th movie, they're like, here's this guy that you don't know, and he's Blade. It'll be like, no. See, like now there's been enough time where if they made a new one, it's okay. But like, let's say right after, because this is like 1 year after the last movie. So all of a sudden it's not Jet Li. So I feel bad.
Yeah. I see what you mean. I mean, it didn't, I'm not going to say it didn't work. I just think it was just...
It affected
Yeah, because it was like 92 came out the last one and then this one 93. So it's like they're filming every year. They look like. But yeah, anyway, 2 for me. Okay, overall.
You said that it's 1993 and the crazy thing is the movie looks like it was made in 1983. I don't understand why it looks like this. It looks old. And they're especially at the end when they're fighting in front of that brick wall. Like the camera changes. I don't know if they changed the film. It looks like all of a sudden looks like they were shooting on 16 millimeter in 1983. I'm like, this looks like crap. What is this? I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Overall, I thought this was, it's tough because I didn't like it. I don't think it's a bad movie because it's competently made. There's some good ideas in there. Like the acting is fine. The returning characters know their roles, but I didn't like it. Like I was not into it. I did not enjoy the action. I had to read Wikipedia at the end to figure out all the exact plot because I was confused. Because like you said, it's very convoluted. There's too much going on. It's in another language. And foreign films, I watch plenty of foreign films and I usually don't have trouble following them. But when they're confusing and then on top of it, I have to read. And sometimes the subtitles go fast. Like this character will be talking and all of a sudden it'll be gone. And I didn't even finish the last word.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, it was tough. So I did not have a good time with this movie. I'm very disappointed, and I gave it a 2.
I gave it a 2. I think this is the weakest one. It was boring, not inspiring. I mean, I'm not saying all the damn martial arts movies are inspiring, but I mean, this is based off a true guy, and some of the stories behind it was actually, look, I knew we we're going to get into some serious shit the minute we saw film 2, when they introduced the element of, what was it, like the fake cult. Right?
Yeah.
We knew this was like the Kali Ma, like the Temple of Doom of the damn thing. I honestly was opened up to the supernatural thing. I was like, this is actually pretty cool. It was a martial arts thing. We all knew it was fake at the end, but I kind of liked it. Then the next story was an espionage type stupid shit with fighting lion heads and all this lion tournament, which again, they mind fucked us because we thought it was going to be an actual martial arts tournament, right. But it wasn't. It was with the
tournament with costumes.
Yeah, with costumes and clans versus this clan. I was like, oh boy, here we go. They repeated the same mistake as 3. And I did not like it. I thought it was whack. It was garbage. The fight sequences in that was horrendous. I couldn't keep up with it. You're right. The subtitles were done faster than the movie. I was just like, man, this is not good. Honestly, I agree. I gave it a 2 overall because, it's the weakest one. Maybe Jet Li did get the script and said, this is not good and I'm not coming back for it. It could be because he does return. I don't know if he returns with the original director of 1, 2, and 3.
He does.
So he does come back. So that means it had to be script reasons he did not come back. So again, we take it as it is. We're going through the entire thing. We said we're going to finish it. We're going to finish it,
baby. It doesn't matter. We've watched plenty of bad movies here. We ain't going to stop now.
Yeah, pretty much.
We got plenty more in the future. Don't worry.
Pretty much.
But they're in English. At least we don't got to read them.
That's true. Okay, so with that said, Nate, what is your total points?
11 out of 25. It's just by far the lowest. I did not like it.
Yeah, I am at a 12.
Pretty much the same.
It's not a good
movie.
movie.
That action, that one extra point. That was it.
Yeah, I will say this. For those of you that are attempting to watch all this and going, wow, man, you guys are going through this. I enjoy the franchise as a trilogy so far.
Yes.
1, 2, and 3.
I would agree.
The trilogy is great. If you want to skip 4, we don't fault you. 4 is not as good. But we'll give you our analyst for details for 5 and 6.
Yeah.
But I would say
I'm less excited. Okay. I'm going to say this. I was excited. When we start these franchises that I've never seen, I get hyped when the first ones are good. I'm like, oh, baby, this is so good. And then, if they suck, that's okay. But this one is like progressively getting worse. So like 1 and 2 are great. 3 is good enough. But it's not like Police Story, Super Cop. Some people say it's the best one. It depends, This one, 3 started going down, and then this one, and like now it's hard for me to get excited for the 5th movie. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how I feel about it. And we do have some, maybe this will help us. The director from the first 3 is back for the 5th one. So,
okay.
And 13th Aunt is back, okay? And check this out. This is kind of exciting. My boy Porky Wing is back.
Oh, Porky Wing is back.
Porky Wing, also Bucktooth from the first movie. The doctor. He has not been in one of these since the first movie. He's back.
My man Bucktooth is back.
Bucktooth, so his name is. He's coming back. Foon is back. So we get the original followers and 13th Aunt, but still no Jet Li, but the same director. So I don't know, man. And I did read this little thing. It says, I don't know what the Rotten Tomatoes scores. We'll tell you them next episode. But it does state that this one received more positive reviews than part 3. So
that's good.
I mean, than part 4. So maybe it will be better. I don't think it could be worse.
No, it can't be worse than 3.
Not with that director coming back. Like, it can't be worse. And then part 6 is the one where Jet Li comes back. So we'll see how that goes.
All right. Well, with that said, Nate, what is coming up next on the podcast?
Yes, of course. Once Upon a Time in China 5 will be the next in this franchise. But our very next episode, we're starting a new month. I hope Angelina was ready for this. Sword and Sandals. Sweaty men with skirts on. And the first movie that we covered, a movie called Centurion, starring Michael Fassbender. So we're going to be reviewing that one for you. This is a good dynamic because all these movies are set in old times. Once Upon a Time in China, old times. These movies always old times. So we're in the old time phase right now. So Centurion will be the first one.
Okay. All right. Looking forward to it. I was thinking when you talked about this movie looked like it was shot in the 80s. I was thinking, do you think they filmed over a movie? They saved the film.
They recorded this on a tape over another movie. So the quality is lower.
Yeah, you thought they filmed over a reel? Like going, man, this movie is so bad. Let's just
it's possible.
Save movie.
It's possible. That last part looks so much worse than the rest of the movie. Like the rest of the movie looks just as good as the other ones. And then that one part where they're in front of the wall, it's all like grainy and like it looks like 16 millimeter. It looks I don't understand. I'm like, what is this? It's weird. So maybe they refilmed the scene 13 times and by the time they got to that it started to look jacked up.
It could be. All right, well look guys.
For real.
With that said, guys, if you guys want to follow us in our social media accounts, please follow Nate over on Instagram at Netflix Reviews. Check out the podcast with him and his friends called Netflix Movie Reviews. Anything AMG Podcast, you guys could head over to youtube.com/Action Movie Guys. Subscribe to the channel. You can watch it there on your work computer while you're working. Of course, you can take us on the go to the gym, on your walks. You can listen to our reviews, Action Movie Guys podcast on TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to your podcast on. And of course, you guys can follow our TikTok account at GeeksN Flicks, where we do mini reviews for you guys. We do our exclusive mini reviews, stuff that we're watching. We just do 1 minute clips and we throw it up there for you guys. But other than that, I'm your host, Alex Figueroa. My co-host is
Nate from Netflix Reviews.
Be awesome to each other and geek out.